Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Today, we're tackling a clutch push rod seal replacement on the Suzuki Bandit 1200, which is also the same procedure for most motorcycles. This is a common issue for Bandit owners, and if you notice any oil leaks near the front sprocket, this might be the culprit. Let's dive right into it. I won't make you watch me undo every bolt, so I'll fast forward to save you time. Grab some gloves and a few rags for cleanup. First, we'll get the bike on its side stand, then we'll take off the speed sensor and remove the bolts on the sprocket cover to get things started. To save myself time later on, I like to leave the bolts in place whenever possible, so I don't have to figure out where they go when reassembling. Now we can undo the bolt in the center of the shaft for the speed pickup and carefully pull the pickup off. Next, grab a 32mm socket and a breaker bar to tackle the sprocket nut. I don't have a helping hand, so here's how I remove this nut. I sit on the bike, apply both the front and rear brakes, and with my left hand, I push down on the breaker bar. Remember, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Just be careful of your handlebars. When the bolt broke free, I accidentally headbutted the bars. Make sure the socket is seated properly on the nut to avoid rounding it off. Now let's get the bike on the center stand. This makes it easier to remove the sprocket. If you find it difficult to take off, you might need to loosen the rear wheel. Once the bolt is out of the way, we can remove the spacer and the sprocket itself. Try not to judge me here, but behind the sprocket, there's a cover held in place with 10mm bolts. Some of these bolts will have part of the cover bent over them, so you'll want to straighten those tabs out before removing them. Once the bolts are off, let the cover hang on the shaft, and now we have access to the push rod seal. Now I'm ready to pull out the old seal. I'll be using a hook pick to do this, but remember, you only want to pull on the seal itself, so don't go too deep, and be sure to have something underneath the bike to catch any oil that might spill. As you can see, I'm only pulling on the seal here. Another thing to note is that the original seal from Suzuki and the seal from this kit are exactly the same. I'm cleaning the mating surface for the seal before pushing the new one in. I'll also wipe some engine oil around the edges to help with the installation. For other motorcycles, there may be a risk of pushing the seal in too far. In this case, you can use a socket that's larger than the seal and place the backside of the socket against it while you push it in. The socket will act as a stop. I'll push the new seal in until it's flush. Before I put the cover back on, I'll take this opportunity to clean up some of the old chain grease. Products like WD-40 work great for this. Just make sure to put the push rod back into the seal before you start cleaning. After a bit of cleaning, it's time to start putting everything back together. I'm reinstalling the cover with the 10mm bolts. Don't forget to bend the tabs back into place to secure everything. I'll give the shaft and threads a quick clean, then apply some grease to the splines of the shaft. Just make sure to avoid getting any grease on the threads. Getting the sprocket back on can be a bit of a pain, but putting the bike on its center stand will make it much easier. With the bike back on its side stand, I'll start by positioning the sprocket washer, making sure it's properly aligned on the shaft. As per the manual, a high-strength thread locker should be applied to the sprocket nut. I'll then torque the nut to 115 Nm or 84 foot-pounds. For the speed pickup bolt, my manual specifies using a low-strength thread locker and tightening it to 20 Nm or 14.5 foot-pounds. Additionally, I'll apply grease to the end of the push rod, specifically the end that contacts the slave cylinder, to ensure smooth operation. For the final step, I'll reinstall the sprocket cover and gear shifter linkage. It's crucial to avoid over-tightening any bolts, as this could strip the threads. When securing the gear shifter bolt, ensure it's snug and free of any play on the shaft. Movement can lead to wear over time. A touch of anti-seize is also advisable to prevent future issues. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video helpful.